Hi everyone, it's Lisa Williams and I'm here with Yin Yoga today. So we're going to start in mountain pose. We're going to do some standing poses, we're going to do some therapeutic yin, and then we're going to move into regular yin. So the difference between them is that therapeutic yin can be a little more intense. So let's start with that and we'll end with the relaxing stuff. So mountain pose. We want to begin with our feet about hip distance apart and parallel the outsides of your feet if you can. Lift the toes and spread them wide and let them drift down to the floor. So you want to be able to see the color of your mat between all of your toes. And now let's work up the body. So as you're working up the legs, I imagine that I'm pulling in skin around muscle and muscle in around bone. So everything is pulling into center with the legs. So if I reach down, I have very tight muscles. So working up into the pelvic region, you want to tuck the tailbone slightly, and that's just a slight tuck, lifting the lower belly up just a bit. And then moving higher, drawing the shoulders up towards the ears, hold the rib cage in this position, and then let the shoulders drift down. And then the arms go back down, pulling the fingers down towards the floor, draw the chin back just a bit, and then relax that tension by about 50%. Find a spot out in front of you and begin to breathe. So conscious breathing, deeper breaths in and long, complete breaths out. Let's do a few of those. And then imagine that you're drawing the breath up through the feet to the crown of the head with the inhale. And the breath sweeps down the body and out the feet with the exhale. And actually see that in your mind. Feel it in your body. And notice how that makes you feel. A little more connected to the earth, to the ground. A little more expansive, rising up with the inhale. Now let's soften that a bit and soften the knees and roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Inhale. And on the exhale, they go back and down. And again, roll the shoulders up, inhale. And exhale back and down. Just a couple more, just like that. One more. This time when the shoulders go back and down, turn your hands out. And with the next inhale, let the arms float up. And exhale down. Sweep them up with the inhale. Exhale down. One more, inhale up. Palms together this time, and exhale, draw the hands right down to the heart. So holding the hands here, let's press the hands in against each other, all knuckles of all fingers. Try to keep the shoulders dropped from the ears, pressing in lightly. And then tilt your fingertips towards your heart, and the heels of your hands are going to go out. Take that rotation slowly. And then go the other way. So turn the fingers upside down and press in, press the elbows down, and the heels of the hands come up. And then let's clasp and press away 3 times. And on that third time, hold with a little gentle pressure. We're going to soften into those knees a little bit. We're going to do a little figure 8. So just a little infinity sign with the arms. Just warming up just a little bit before we move into our first postures. Coming back to center, let those pointer fingers go up, clasping your hands, point away. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. I'm going to soften the knees, press the shoulder blades towards the back of the room, and drop the chin. And then take a deep breath into your shoulder blades and hold. And long breath out. And again, deep breath into the shoulder blades and hold. Long breath out. Inhale, bring the arms all the way up. And on the exhale, we're going to open the arms and we're going to clasp our hands behind us and we're going to move into our first therapeutic pose. So I'm turning back to the front. My feet are hip distance apart. My hands are clasped at my lower back. And so each of these therapeutic poses have some rules associated. So this one has one main rule, which is to keep the palms of your hands together at all times. So pressing the palms of your hands together, elbows are relaxed. You're going to start to let the hands slide down your back. And so we're straightening the arms just a bit. Now you may already be feeling strong sensation in your shoulders, and if that's the case, you're going to stop right here. Stay connected to the breath. Palms are together, gently squeezing those fingers. If you have jewelry on, please be careful. And then over the next, say, 20 seconds, you're going to straighten the arms as much as you personally can, keeping the palms of the hands together at all times. I'm going to turn back to the side so that you can see my arms are almost straight. That may not be the case for you. Your elbows may stay soft. Now, take your attention down into your feet and make sure that the weight is equally distributed in your feet. Take your attention to your tailbone and draw it down slightly, lifting the pubic bone up just a little bit, finding length in the spine. And then ask yourself, am I pressing my rib cage forward? And if you are, gently pull that in a bit. And now your arms are as straight as you can personally get them. You're gently squeezing those fingers, and those palms are together. And now a little more work. So gently lift the hands away from the back. Again, I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see my hands have come away from my back just a couple of inches. And then again, over the next 20 to 30 seconds, feel free to lift those arms as far away from the back as you personally can without strain. And then let's check in again, make sure that the tailbone is drawn down, pubic bone is lifted, front ribs are in, not being poked out, palms are absolutely together, squeezing those fingers. Now we've been holding this pose quite a while now. You may begin to feel that the nervous system becomes a bit engaged, and that's natural. The breathing may change. May begin to feel a little shakiness in the body. So I want you to be very careful here that if this shakiness in the body extends into the emotional body, if you begin to feel anxious or have any kind of negative emotions arising, please come out of the pose. So we want to keep an eye on that. This will trigger the nervous system. So I'm beginning to feel myself shake just a little bit. We're going to take a few more breaths here. I'm asking if I can lift my arms any bit higher. No pain, although it is getting a little uncomfortable. Remember, this is therapeutic yoga, and so anything that has the word therapy in it is usually not going to be really comfortable. It's going to be a little intense. I'm going to take one more breath, and I'm slowly going to release. Now notice that when I release, I just stay here. I'm not shaking off sensation. I'm not wiggling. I'm just feeling what I'm feeling. And what I'm feeling is a lot of strong sensation in my shoulders, my elbows, and my nervous system has been very engaged. So I'm also feeling a strong discharge from my nervous system, which is what we want. Let's move into the next therapeutic pose. So I'm going to move to the back of my mat, and I'm going to begin to open my legs a bit wider. So how wide you open your legs is personal. You want to feel strong sensation in the hips. So for me, because I've done this yoga for quite a while, my legs go a little wider before I begin to feel, yes, I'm getting that strong sensation in my hips. You also will feel it in the thighs and in the ankles, but what we're really looking for is strong sensation in the hips. I'm going to let my arms drop down, and then I'm going to make sure that I have not gone so wide that I can't turn my toes in and my heels out. So toes in, heels out. And do look and make sure that the heels are turned out. So you may begin to notice some restrictions in the body, and especially in the hips. So I notice my knees are soft, my tailbone is sticking out a bit, and those are things we're going to work on in just another second or two. But for now, we're just becoming accustomed to the pose. So in this kind of yoga, we find these very simple looking poses, and we allow the poses to expose our restrictions. This one is exposing restrictions in our hips, our ankles, and our knees. So now that I've been here for a while, I'm going to start making these micro engagements in my body, demonstrating to the body something that the hips should be able to do, and then staying so that the hips have time to integrate that. So I'm taking my attention down into my feet, and I'm going to make sure that the weight is not on the outsides of my feet. So I'm equalizing that weight. I'm working my attention up my legs, and I'm straightening my legs as much as I can. And that means for me, gently pushing the back of my knees towards the back of the room. I'm not hyperextending, I'm just straightening. Now I also feel as if I'm sticking my tailbone out here. That's a restriction in my hips. So I'm going to see if I can pull the tailbone down a bit and lift this area of my belly up, finding space in the spine. And that takes work, and I will forget. And so as I go through these cues, I'm reminding myself of that. I also feel like I'm pushing my chest and my rib cage forward a bit, so I'm going to pull the rib cage back. Keep my chin lifted. And I'm going to stay with the shakiness that I'm beginning to feel. I'm going to stay with that slight feeling of discomfort in my legs. As long as it doesn't become painful, I'm going to stay. I can notice that my breathing is starting to deepen with the work that I'm doing. And now let's go back through those cues. So again, I'm making sure that the weight is equalized in my feet. The back of the knees are pressing gently towards the back of the room, straightening the legs. The tailbone is being drawn down as the pubic bone is drawn up. Front ribs are being drawn back. And now, as if that wasn't enough, we're going to bend the left knee a few inches, trying to keep the integrity of the pose in the other areas. And I'm going to maintain. Please again check in with how you feel, not just physically, but emotionally. This yoga can trigger some emotional effects in the nervous system, and so be aware of that. And if you begin to feel that way, just come out. I'm going to re-straighten that leg, and I'm going to bend the right knee. I'm going to do this slowly. I'm staying in touch with how I'm feeling, and I maintain. Soften your gaze. This yoga almost becomes like a meditation. You become very, very present due to the intensity of what you're doing. I'm going to re-straighten, and then I'm going to bend both knees. Again, checking in with the tailbone, drawing it down. Front ribs are in, equalizing the weight in my feet, finding balance. And again, I'm going to re-straighten both knees. Now we've been here quite a while, it's time to come out. So we come out carefully. So I turn a heel in, and I wait. I turn the other heel in, and as I can, I then step in, and I go for a walk. So I walk around my mat, and I'm allowing the body to reset. My ankles, my knees, my hips That usually only takes one time around for me. It might take you a couple of rounds, that's fine. And we're gonna move into one more therapeutic standing pose. So I'm gonna come to the back of my mat. And I'm gonna put my right foot right in the center of my mat. And I'm gonna align the outside of the back foot with the left side of the mat. That means baby toe and heel are on the left side of the mat. Arms can be out for balance at first. And then I know that this is not quite wide enough for me. Although I'm tired, my legs are tired from the last two poses, I'm gonna inch that front foot forward a bit. The rule for this pose is that both legs are straight and the back heel is on the floor. Making sure that that heel is aligned with the side of the mat as well as the baby toe. And when you have your balance, you can put your hands on your hips and draw your elbows back. Chin is lifted. You can notice that the body is still a little shaky from the previous two poses. And now those micro engagements. I'm going to press that back heel down firmly and make sure both legs are straight. I'm going to draw my tailbone down a bit, pubic bone is lifted, and be aware if these front ribs are being pushed forward and draw them back. Chin is up, elbows back. We're going to go through those cues one more time. Pressing that back heel down. Both legs are straight. Tailbone drawn down slightly, pubic bone lifted. Front ribs in, elbows back. Take a few more breaths here. Again, soften the gaze. Stay with the breath. And allow the arms to come out. Bend that front knee and lean forward. And step forward. Once you've stepped forward, then find both feet. And again, circumnavigate your mat one time, allowing the body to reset, especially the hips, but also the knees and the ankles. And once you're fine, let's do the other side. So we're gonna align the outside of the right foot with the back of the mat, and that's heel and baby toe. So that may make your foot look like it's going in a little bit, that's okay. Step forward with the left, big step, center of the mat. Look back and make sure that heel did not move. Arms out for balance. I'm inching my front foot forward. You want your legs to be as wide as possible. Both legs straight, back heel on the floor. When you have your balance, hands to the hips, elbows back. And again, from an outsider's point of view, it doesn't look like a lot's going on here. But this is extremely physically demanding, but it's also therapeutic. And all we have to do is stay and feel what we're feeling. So this yoga is not about thinking about how you feel, it's about actually feeling it. Staying in touch with that so you can monitor and begin to learn where these restrictions are in your body. Now, those micro engagements. I'm pushing down into my back heel, straightening both legs, drawing the tailbone down, lifting the pubic bone up, front ribs are drawn in, and my elbows are back. Chin is lifted. Second side is always a little more challenging with both balance and and with the physical exhaustion. So be aware of that. We're not accustomed to staying with uncomfortable feelings, whether those are physical feelings or emotions. This yoga is teaching us to be with that. We are not in pain. If we are, we come out. I've heard people say that this yoga makes you chronically present. There is nowhere else to be but present when you're feeling these kinds of sensations. Again, not pleasant while you're doing it, but the contrast when you come out is quite amazing. Arms out, lean forward, and when you're ready, we step in a little, and when you can, all the way, and again, once around the mat. And now we're going to come down to the floor. So the next pose is a regular yin pose. So the difference between therapeutic and regular yin is that the regular yin tends to be a little more relaxing. So this one is butterfly. We're going to bring the bottoms of the feet together, and feel free to have your hips on a blanket if you'd like for a little elevation. And how to know if you need that? Well, feel like where your hip bones are, and if the knees are relatively at the same level, then you're probably good at that level. If not, you might want to lift the hips up higher. I have about 10 to 14 inches between my groin and my heels. So in regular yoga, we would really work this pose. We might go down and out with a flat back. In yin, we want to soften into the pose. We want to allow. So there's no real efforting in going forward. We're allowing. So if you're already feeling strong sensation in your hips or your knees or your ankles, you might want to stay right here and just breathe. Otherwise, place your fingertips down or your hands, round your back a bit, and drop your chin towards center chest. And then we allow gravity to work for us. So we walk our hands out. And at the end of your next exhale, draw your lower belly in. See if you can round your back a bit more and drop your chin more. So the head actually begins to act as a weight that carries us forward. The hands go out, the back rounds, and the chin drops. Your hands also act as brakes. So if you're going too far forward too fast, if you're feeling discomfort in your lower back, put the brakes on. Otherwise, drop the chin and relax. I'm going to keep my chin slightly forward so that you can hear me. So in regular yin, we find the pose, which you've done. We find the shape. And then we begin to relax all muscular contraction so that we can put a little gentle stress on the tissues around our joints. So move your attention through your body now and see if you can relax as many muscle groups as possible. So begin with the shoulders and the back of the neck. Can you relax any bit more there? Relax the lower back, the outer knees, the inner groin, and relax the feet. And finally, relax your face. So we found the shape, we've relaxed, and now we just stay. So while we're staying here, our attention tends to wander. And we don't want our attention to wander back up into all that mental chatter. So what I'd like you to do is pay attention to the breath. And with your next inhale in your mind, I'd like you to count the number 7 on the inhale, and on the exhale 7. And inhale 6.
And exhale, 6. Inhale, 5. And exhale, 5. And go all the way down to 1. Slowly walk your hands back. Sitting up, we're not finished with this pose quite yet. We're going to draw the heels back now towards the groin. Same position, different position with the feet. Once again, the fingertips go down, we round the back. If you're feeling strong sensation here, stay right here and breathe. Otherwise, begin to walk those hands forward. And you're going to find that this is impacting the body in a different way. You may find more sensation in the ankles, in the connective tissue on the outsides of the legs, and in the knees. Again, go as far forward as your body allows naturally. In allowing, not forcing, dropping the chin. Work through the body, relaxing the muscle groups, the shoulders, the hips. Relax the lower back, the knees and the ankles. And finally, relax your face. And then move your attention to your breath. The natural breath that's already occurring, though you're finishing your exhales. And with your next inhale, count 7 in your mind. And on the exhale, 7. And inhale, 6. And exhale, 6. And go all the way down to 1 once again. Again, walk the hands back, coming back up to a seated position. And let's do one more version of this butterfly pose, but we're going to do it on our backs. So simply turn, place that blanket under your head for support, and lay down on your back. Knees are bent, feet on the floor, feet together, knees together. And then take your arms back for a passive shoulder stretch. Clasp your hands under your blanket or under your head and let the elbows relax. Slowly open your knees, letting the bottoms of the feet come together. And then in a non-aggressive way, press your lower back in the direction of the floor. And take a few breaths here. Ask yourself where your lower back is in relation to the floor. And see if you can close that distance just a bit. Extending your exhales now. And sending those exhales right into your pelvis. And then slowly slide your left heel forward and your right. You can take your arms out by your sides with the palms up. You can leave the blanket under your head if you'd like. And rest in Savasana for these last few minutes. Pay particular attention to your exhales now, following each one all the way out of the body. Notice that the exhale has a descending feel to it, as if you were going down deeper into yourself. Like the feeling of going down an elevator, a stairway, a waterfall. Every exhale takes you a little deeper down into yourself. Rest on the inside as much as you're resting on the outside for this last minute. Wiggle fingers, wiggle toes. Stretch long. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, roll right over onto your side, knees to your chest. So back up to seated. Bring your hands to your heart center. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Join me in saying namaste. Thank you.